You ask an AI one short question, it answers, and somewhere you just got charged. Not for the question, not for the words, but for something called tokens. Watch, this one sentence is 5 tokens, a fraction of a cent. But run that across an app, 10,000 users every day, and tokens quietly become your entire AI bill. So what is a token and why is it the thing you actually pay for? Quick grounding because this trips up almost everyone. When you use an AI like ChatGPT or Claude or build one into an app, you don't pay per message and you don't pay per word, you pay per token. A token is just a chunk of text, usually a few characters, that the model treats as a single unit. Everything it reads from you and everything it writes back, it counts in tokens. So to understand your bill, you have to start seeing your text the way the model does, in chunks, not words. Let's tokenize one real sentence and watch. I am learning JavaScript. Feed it to the tokenizer and here is what it comes out. I am, that's one whole token, apostrophe and all. Learning one token and noted the space in front of it writes along as part of the token. Now JavaScript, the model splits it into two, Java and script, because it knows both of these pieces. And the period gets its own token too. 5 tokens from 3 words. That's the whole idea. A token isn't a word and it isn't a letter. It's whatever chunk the model has decided is worth keeping as one unit. IAM is common enough to stay whole. JavaScript is really two familiar pieces glued together, so it splits. But why those chunks? Because every model has a fixed vocabulary, a set list of all the chunks it knows, usually tens of hundreds of them, often 100,000 or more. It can't have a slot for every possible word in every language. That list would be endless. So instead it learns from enormous amounts of text which chunks show up most often. The most common ones, the, ing, Java, earn their own token. Rare words get built from those smaller pieces. The method's called byte pair encoding. It starts from single characters and keeps merging the most common pairs until it has a vocabulary that's useful. The payoff, a fixed list of chunks can spell out absolutely any text you give it, common or rare. As a rule of thumb in English, one token is about 4 characters, or roughly 3/4 of a word. So a 100-word email is around 130 tokens. Here is why this lands on your bill. The model does a fixed amount of computation for every single token, both reading yours and generating its own. More tokens, more compute, more cost. So you are charged per token two ways: the tokens you send in, your prompt, and the tokens it sends out, its answer. And output usually costs several times more than input, because generating text is the expensive part. That's exactly why, in the cost routing video, the model's reply drove the bill more than the question did. What's the meter? Your 6 input tokens barely move it. But a real prompt, a few hundred in, several hundred out, and now multiplied by every user. That's where the bill comes from. One more place tokens byte, the context window, that's the maximum number of tokens the model can hold in its head at once, its working memory, and everything counts against it. Your prompt, the whole conversation so far, and the model's reply. Fill it up, and the oldest tokens fall off the edge, which is literally why a long chat starts to forget what you told it at the beginning. A bigger context window costs more too, because it's more tokens to process on every single turn. So what actually inflates the bill? Verbose prompts, every word you didn't need is tokens you pay for. Long outputs, asking for 2000 words than 200 would do. And one most people miss, code and non-English text tokenize words. They split into more tokens per word than plain English, so the same idea costs more. Even your formatting, all those spaces and markdown symbols are tokens. The good news, tighten the prompt, kept the output, and you have cut the bill without touching the model at all. A token is just a chunk of text, but it's the unit your AI bill is actually written in. Once you can see the tokens, you can see the cost and you can control it. Next week, how those tokens get turned into numbers a model can actually do math with. That's embeddings. And that's the idea behind search, recommendations, and how AI understands meaning at all. If this made the build make sense, subscribe and tell me in the comments what is the longest prompt you have ever sent.